President of the South African Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Advocate Mtho Xulu, has raised concerns about how municipalities are being run. Xulu says the Department of Co-operative Governance and Traditional Affairs is also failing to ensure viable municipalities. Advocate Xulu joins us now to expand on some of what was said in the article that was carried in the Sunday Times this past weekend. Advocate Xulu, thank you very much for your time. Let's begin with what you say there, and I'm going to quote word for word in that article some of the captions of what you said. And it goes, with every local government election, more and more municipalities are collapsing, close quote. That's a very strong statement to make. Expand on this. Why do you take this view that with every local election we're going to have, clearly municipalities are going to be falling apart?
Good morning, and thank you for having us. Certainly, look, you can even take a historical view. I know we penned this paper because of the heightened attention around the problems of governance in metros. But if you just look at the advent of this local government system, you will find that towns that were organized under old town councils were merged and arranged to form the new local government structure. But with all those mergers and the demarcations of those towns, you have found that we've not really taken care of the quality of the governance and maintaining those towns as competitive centers of economic activity. So we just simply lumped up a couple of towns and villages to create towns, and we allowed any councils to run as they wish. And we never invested enough in those local municipalities, and from a financial management point of view, but maintaining the governance thereof. So even though coalition governments seem to become a thing from 2016, all those local municipal elections, as they came over the past decade and hopefully into the future, you'll find that they will keep collapsing, because we go into elections just to elect councillors, but we don't actually diagnose and implement the solutions that will make these municipalities competitive.
We have a COCTA department, as described in the introduction I was making, and this department is supposed to play an oversight role about the function or functioning of municipalities. Is it effective?
The results don't quite show, and the name says it all. I mean, cooperative governance, and was supposed to be a department that is able to put together the national policy and the provincial administration and the impact of service delivery on the ground in terms of local government. But all the endeavors that the COCTA itself defines find resistance and don't get implemented at local level, because the local politics are determined by the local political leaders. You'll see now, every time there's a coalition negotiation, it's all the local guys who get together and negotiate what they believe is best for their coalition interest. But it's not always drawn from the data and the science that comes from either State South Africa and COCTA, and also the recommendations from the AG to say, as a COCTA department, what are you implementing, and how are those initiatives being received and rolled out at local government elections? So there is definitely still a disconnect, and the proof is in the fact that since we have had the department, we've not had actually local municipalities improving. What we've had deterioration of service delivery, political interference, weakened financial management, and general collapse of services and implementation of policy.
Let's go to the heart of the article that you were quoted in, because this has to do with the impact that this instability at local government has for running of businesses. The understanding, Advocate Xulu, is that even with mayoral seats changing hands every so often, particularly in coalition arrangements, the administrative functions, we are told, this is now the municipal manager level, those are supposed to continue functioning uninterrupted. Is this the reality that you are finding, or is it something completely different?
Well, the reality is not what we're finding. The stability of council is very important for the effectiveness of administration, because ultimately the work that administrators do is to implement a budget that is approved by council, an LED and an IDP strategy also approved by council. So if you have changes at council level, you erode the state of stability of governance, and every time these mayoral change or coalitions change at council level, they do tend to influence and interrupt what happens in administration. It's wrong to have politicians interfering in administration, but we all know that administrators are largely political appointees. So if there's no stability at the political level of council, every time the councillors come with their new arrangements of coalitions, they tend to interfere about the direction of those administrators, and they also fear, these administrators, they fear not listening to these coalitions because it also comes back to the security of their work. And also in terms of the implementation of any policy, once you have a new council coming in, those new councillors have their own tempo in terms of what must be implemented. So as often as you change, it's a stop-start initiative. So it's a problem itself that even if you have administrators that are supposed to be stable, an unstable government at council level tends to interfere with administrations.
Why do you think this has been ignored, Advocate Xulu? Because there's clearly evidence to back up the point that you have now come to, which is a point of total frustration. Why has this been ignored in terms of quick interventions?
Look, one can only think that maybe it's because people tend to think that government is the national government. And whatever is said at that level, somewhat hides the problems that we have at provincial and local government elections or government levels. So we've never really interrogated these towns individually to say, what is the competitiveness of these various towns? What skills do they bring? What business do they retain? What's their level of infrastructure? Are they driving innovation? Are they habitable? Are they safe communities? We've always tend to lump them into one sphere and hope that national government will do the right thing. We have a disconnect because at national government level, those who run COCTA are also not the most influential people at local government level. So you have a power base at local level that is not fully accountable to the national level. You have a national government that is not in total control of the local ones. So it's that disconnect. And I think for a very long time, we've always thought that government has had it under control, but we've left actually the decay at local level to take place, and the interventions from the AG and National Treasury and COCTA have gone largely ignored.
How severe has this impact been on business?
It's terrible for business because based on COCTA's own studies supported by various schools of thought, you have no more than 30% of our municipalities that are actually functional. So that's out of 250 odd municipalities that can claim to be functional, jurisdictions. The problem with that, it means that it's only in 30% of our towns where we have small businesses that can rely on a state government. And many SMEs and small businesses are actually single location businesses. So they don't have the opportunity to be able to scale up and operate in other areas. If you are stuck in a dysfunctional municipality as a small business, you run the risk of not having services, of not having consistent government, and also not having proper implementation of budget and local economic development strategies. And those dysfunctional municipalities also rob you of being able to expand in your services, because municipalities that can't attract investment and can't grow their market actually means that the businesses in those towns will never grow themselves. So you are frustrated by a dysfunctional municipality, but you also lose out on the opportunity of a municipality, if it was functional, for you to grow your business and grow your market. So those municipalities that are stuck in, those SMEs stuck in dysfunctional municipalities will never grow for as long as those municipalities remain dysfunctional.
A particular suggestion you have made as a result of this dysfunction, Advocate Xulu, is that you, as the head of the organization, SACHI, you're saying that you want rates and taxes to be linked to specific projects and ring-fenced so that they are only used for those projects. I'm trying to make this as simple to understand as is possible for my viewer. Am I too simplistic if I make a suggestion that if this isn't done, perhaps a business might start thinking twice about paying over those rates and taxes?
It is one of the initiatives that we are proposing. And that has been something that our various chambers in the various towns have been trying to advance to the local municipalities. Because what we have currently, we do not have a sense of great accountability and transparency and visibility on the connections between rates and taxes and the quality of services and projects that are being delivered. So rates and taxes are paid into a common account, and municipalities then disperse those funds based on their own priorities. So what happens to be in the integrated development plan and the budget doesn't always filter through. And also, even when those projects are identified, the management does not actually deliver those projects at all times within budget and within the time frame that's stipulated. So we believe that if we can start modeling it differently, to be able to say there may be general rates and taxes for the ordinary administration of the municipality around OPEX and salaries, and also have capital projects that we can contribute to, and we have greater line of sight about how they are implemented. Because every town understands what they need. But for many years, you pay rates and taxes, the roads are not improved, the water reticulation systems are not improved, the water reticulation is not improved. And obviously, in an era of digital age, very few municipalities are also rolling out connectivity and smart energy solutions. So you pay rates and taxes, but you are unable to get the services that you desire. So we are hoping that in this time and this day and age, where we are very clear about what we need in communities to make them succeed, why don't we ring-fence budgets and link the rent to the project in a way that citizens can be confident that what we pay for will ultimately result in what we desire?
Yeah. If that ring-fencing of these rates and taxes for particular projects, would SACHI start advising members to what? Withhold paying these taxes?
No, we will not subscribe in the withholding of paying rents and taxes, because we as organized business are a constructive member of society. Paying rents and taxes is also a culture of being a good citizen. So you need to pay your way. But I think when you want people to pay their way, you also need to incentivize them for them to understand the value of money or the value of what they are paying for. So what we're actually calling for is not necessarily a rate boycott. We are saying let us overhaul municipal finances and overhaul public-private partnership frameworks at local government level to make sure that what we pay for and the economies that we have in those towns are able to track the money and we can get the services we want. So I think our advance will be towards COGTA and the National Treasury to say, let us have a robust and modern financial management system that is able to attract rates and taxes, and let's also have a public-private partnership framework that allows us to have a unified and transparent and professional way of ring-fenced budgets being applied for services that the citizens are actually calling for. So no, as business, we believe that we are very constructive in our advance. We want to be part of the solution, but we believe that the current management of finances is not sustainable, and I think it's just a deep, dark hole, and we can't continue paying into this and hoping for the best.
Advocate Mtho Xulu is the president of the South African Chamber of Commerce and Industry. Thank you very much for your time.